What is going on, world? The Hungarian experiment here. And a couple weeks back, I came out with a video where I explain why I believe intermittent fasting is the best way to eat in regards to fat loss. If you haven't seen this video yet, then I really suggest checking it out because I believe it helps to display in a pictorial format why I believe intermittent fasting is the best way to eat for fat loss by comparing different lifestyles and eating habits. This will help to give you a nice mental picture of how your lifestyle and your eating habits are affecting you and your body. Now, whenever I theorize on what is the most optimal way to live our lives so that we are producing the most natural amount of hormones possible, I always think back to our ancestors and I try to envision their lifestyle. Now, I've done a lot of research over the years and I've read a lot of books on this subject, and I believe the best period to try to study from where we are not tainted by society is pre-agriculture and pre-farming. Right around the formation of language, as we were starting to form these communities and we were evolving out of our basic animal instincts of food, water, shelter, sleep, and sex. I believe this is the best period to study from because we are completely untainted by anything societal. This is when I believe is the best period to analyze our ancestors and then compare it to our modern day situation. Agriculture changed a lot about human beings. Social class changed. The way we handle relationships changed. Things like ownership, power, and respect all became things that humans had to now concern themselves with, whereas in pre-agriculture times, these were things that were shared with the group and the community as a whole. Now, obviously, this video is going to be full of generalizations because we don't have documented information from the people who lived at those times. But if you are interested, I am rereading Sex at Dawn by Christopher Ryan, and I've been posting up pages from this book on my Instagram, so you can see what a great resource it is and make the choice to purchase it for yourself. But here's an important page from the book that helps to outline my point. But when people began living in settled agriculture communities, social reality shifted deeply and irrevocably. Suddenly, it became crucially important to know where your field ended and your neighbor's began. Remember the 10th commandment, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's." The origins of farming is the defining event of human history. The one turning point that has resulted in modern humans having a quite different type of lifestyle and cognition to all other animals and past type of humans. The most important pivot point in the story of our species, the shift to agriculture, redirected the trajectory of human life more fundamentally than the control of fire, the Magna Carta, the printing press, the steam engine, nuclear fission, or anything else has or perhaps ever will. With agriculture, virtually everything changed. The nature of status and power, social and family structures, how humans interacted with the natural world, the gods they worshipped, the likelihood and nature of warfare between groups, quality of life, longevity, and certainly the rules governing sexuality. Another great book for learning about our ancestors and why certain countries or civilizations have been able to control or have more power over others due to different environmental, social, and geographic factors is Guns, Germs, and Steel: The Fates of Human Societies. History followed different courses for different people because of differences among people's environments, not because of biological difference among peoples themselves. With the rise of chiefdoms around 7,500 years ago, people had to learn for the first time in history how to encounter strangers regularly without attempting to kill them. 12,000 years ago, everybody on Earth was a hunter-gatherer. Now, almost all of us are farmers or else are fed by farmers. The spread of farming from those few sites of origin usually did not occur as a result of the hunter-gatherers elsewhere adopting farming. Hunter-gatherers tend to be conservative. Instead, farming spread mainly through farmers outbreeding hunters, developing more potent technology, and then killing the hunters or driving them off of all lands suitable for agriculture. Food production was indirectly a prerequisite for the development of guns, germs, and steel. Hence, geographic variation in whether or when the peoples of different continents became farmers and herders explain to a large extent their subsequent contrasting fates. Now, a lot of this conclusion is made from generalizations, but there are many ways to see how humans lived, loved, and even ate by studying and researching the results of their actions, which is explained quite well in Sex at Dawn. In the following pages, we reassess some of the most important science of our time. We question the deepest assumptions brought to contemporary views of marriage, family structure, and sexuality, issues affecting each of us every day and every night. We'll show that human beings evolved in intimate groups where almost everything was shared: food, shelter, protection, childcare, and even sexual pleasure. We don't argue that humans are natural-born Marxist hippies, nor do we hold that romantic love was unknown or unimportant in prehistoric communities. But we'll demonstrate that contemporary culture misrepresents the link between love and sex. With and without love, a casual sexuality was the norm for our prehistoric ancestors. Let's address the question you are probably already asking. How can we possibly know anything about sex in prehistory? Nobody alive today was there to witness prehistoric life, and since social behavior leaves no fossils, isn't this all just wild speculation? Not quite. There's an old story about the trial of a man charged with biting off another man's finger in a fight. An eyewitness took the stand. The defense attorney asked, "Did you actually see my client bite off the finger?" The witness said, "Well, no, I didn't." "Aha," said the attorney with a smug smile. "How then can you claim he bit off the man's finger?" "Well," replied the witness, "I saw him spit it out." When looking at our ancestors, there is absolutely no way they ate 6 to 8 small meals a day or even 3 larger meals. They unwillingly and unknowingly participated in intermittent fasting. They didn't have refrigerators, grocery stores, microwaves, restaurants, and convenience stores to help fulfill their appetite at every moment of the day. As leading neuroscience and aging expert Mark P. Mattson tells us, our ancestors consumed food much less frequently and often had to subsist on 1 large meal per day. And thus, from an evolutionary perspective, human beings were adapted to intermittent fasting feeding rather than grazing throughout the day. Dr. Mosley, author of The Fast Diet, says, intermittent fasting is not about starvation, but eating similar to our ancestors who survived in a feast and famine environment. They feasted when they had food and fasted or ate very little during famine periods. Our bodies, minds, and genetics have changed very little compared to our ancestors from 10,000 years ago. The point of all this is that our bodies are designed to withstand periods of famine. Our body wisely stores any excess food in the form of fat to be used later. Our carbon flesh vessels have adapted to this type of eating for thousands upon thousands of years, and we still have the same bodies as our ancestors. Not much has changed over the last 10,000 years. Alright, well there you have it, world. This is why I believe intermittent fasting is the best way to eat and why we need to eat like our ancestors. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. If you like what you saw here today and maybe you learned a little bit of information, make sure you go down, leave me a comment, and of course, hit that like button. I am the Hungarian Experiment.